Air Force eyes bomb bay in a box to rapidly turn airlifters into flying weapon trucks. The U.S. Air Force is looking into conducting experiments involving palletized dispensers for standoff munitions that could rapidly turn airlifters, such as the C-130 Hercules or the C-17 Globemaster III, into heavily armed weapons trucks. This could offer a relatively low-cost and low-risk path toward increasing the service's capacity to launch large-scale strikes across a broad area during a major conflict. The Air Force Research Laboratory, AFRL, first announced it was interested in gathering information on existing palletized munition concepts or proposed for new designs in February 2020. AFRL's Air Force Strategic Development Planning and Experimentation Office, or SDPE, said it was looking for information on potential availability of systems suitable to support prototype experimentation in both ground and flight tests. The ability to mass firepower in future conflicts increases the range of opponent execution options against peer adversaries. Delivering standoff-type weapons en masse, from non-traditional delivery platforms, is one potential option to deliver mass firepower and could prove pivotal in future conflicts, as PDE's February request for information explained. The concept of a bomb bay in a box, where mobility aircraft airdrop multiple, independent munitions from outside of a threat area could augment traditional delivery methods. The contracting notice does not specify a particular type of aircraft, but does say the concept seeks to capitalize on current airlift capability to increase delivery of massed firepower. Proposed designs also have to employ a roll-on roll-off deployment design that is palletized options, and use conventional airdrop infrastructure techniques indicating that munitions would exit the aircraft via a rear ramp. The Air Force's primarily airlifters at present are the C-130 and the C-17, both of which have a rear ramp and would ideal candidates to carry such a system. Any system that works on both of those aircraft would also be able to be utilized in conjunction with the larger C-5 Galaxy, if desired, as well. AFRL says that the palletized munitions system will be expandable, meaning crews will toss them out of an airplane along with the munitions themselves with no expectation of recovering them after the mission. Anyone who proposes a system can use standardized government cargo pallets as a baseline or develop a new pallet system with the understanding that the U.S. government would eventually own the design if the project leads to an actual fielded weapon system. Any proposed system would minimize connections between aircraft and pallet, and require no aircraft modifications, according to the request for information. AFRL also wants the complete system to include a mission-separate pallet with the systems necessary to program munitions and enter targeting information before launch. All of this would allow for a palletized munition system that could be readily installed and uninstalled on any suitable airlifter, as necessary. AFRL says responses to its request for information need to include a description of the munition or munitions the proposed system will work with. The contracting notice indicates that companies can also propose entirely new munitions specifically for the palletized system if they want. Whatever the chosen munitions might be, they would have to have sufficient range to allow airlifters to safely launch them from well outside the range of potential hostile air defenses, which are only improving in capability. It's worth noting that the basic idea of utilizing airlifters as strike platforms, as well as palletized and otherwise modular munitions dispensers, is hardly new. However, past concepts have typically involved cargo aircraft as a means, generally in permissive environments, of employing unguided munitions in more traditional level bombing roles or for dropping outsized specialized munitions. There have also been more extensive conversion programs to turn cargo aircraft into more specialized strike platforms, the best example of which are the Air Force's C-130 gunships. There are also roll-on roll-off kits, such as the U.S. Marine Corps Harvest Hawk system for its C-130s, which allow militaries to more rapidly and only temporarily convert airlifters into similar, if less robust gunship configurations. Those systems are still generally intended for use in permissive environments, as well. What the Air Force is exploring now is a significantly different concept that would allow airlifters to augment its long-range, standoff strike capabilities in a high-end conflict. This makes good sense in many respects given the increasing capabilities of potential enemy-integrated air defense networks, such as those that Russia and China continue to improve and expand, which will pose a serious threat to all but the most advanced stealthy aircraft in the future. With that in mind, the question increasingly becomes what would be the functional difference between conducting mass long-range strikes using a large payload bomber, such as the B-52, for instance, rather than an airlifter, such as the C-17, which is significantly cheaper per flight hour to operate and can possibly carry even more weapons using a pelletized system. An airlifter carrying the pelletized munition system would not need to have any targeting capability of its own either, instead using ever-improving networking capabilities to get that information from other manned and unmanned aircraft, ships, and assets on the ground closer to the target area. Space-based sensors could also potentially contribute to the targeting ecosystem in the future. AFRL already has a separate program underway, called Golden Horde, that is focused on exploring ways to network munitions together themselves so that they can operate as autonomous swarms. The Air Force, along with the Navy and the Army, are also exploring various means of improving networking to allow for more diverse off-board targeting options, as well. In principle, the Air Force could also use a pelletized munitions system to deploy swarms of small drones, including expandable and recoverable types, from its airlifters, as well. A video that AFRL released in 2018 depicting various systems that service could be using in the 2030s included a segment showing a C-130-sized aircraft doing just this via a parachute-retarded air-launched canister-like module.